Hello everyone. I'm just an ordinary employee who likes history. Let's recap what I have discussed about the 13 colonies that have sent an olive branch petition to the British. They were trying to find a way to reconcile, right? But King George III ignored it. What did they do after that? The colonists were not monolithic. Some wanted to stay in England, and some wanted to be independent. They are middle, neutrals. Well, there were many different groups. Why? They were a little confused about the direction to take after this. They're already in the middle of a war, aren't they? It's a dangerous situation when the people fighting against each other are not monolithic. But something has happened. The majority of people came to share the same sense of purpose at once. What is this thing? There's a book called Common Sense, written by Thomas Paine. This book became a bestseller. What was it about? In a nutshell, independence from Great Britain is a natural human right. Thomas Paine is a man who believes that kings and monarchies and aristocratic tyranny are hereditary systems. The system of hereditary rule is where these people acquired their power. You know, it sucks. That's what they're saying. That's why kingship is shit, and aristocracy is shit. These are hereditary. Where did history begin? It's called the Norman Conquest. The Norman Conquest was an invasion. That's how the current King of England was born. There was no need for us to follow such a thief. In other words, the people at the top who are in charge of Britain today are shit. And the political system that they run is shit. That's what common sense is. This way of thinking is called social contract theory. From around that time, it's not just limited to England and America. It is also in Europe as a whole. There was a big boom in this kind of thinking. How was politics conducted in Europe until now? Absolute monarchy. So when something like that happens, there is a backlash. And in the United States, many people came there for freedom. This idea was a big hit. But you know what? I have a theory about this. I'm not saying that an absolute monarchy is a bad thing. I think there are political systems that are appropriate for each era. I believe absolute monarchs were the most suitable political system during that time. Before that, territories were not stable at all. There were wars all the time. They fought wars and expanded their territories. The people of the country were guaranteed a certain amount of life. The absolute monarch was the best choice for that time. I think the absolute monarch was the most suitable person for that era. However, the social contract theory came into play when the aristocrats and kings started to act for their selfish interests. All people are the same. Why are you the only ones doing free things? Or something like that? That's the kind of thinking that emerges as mentioned in this book by Thomas Paine, Common Sense. What's so great about this common sense? It's written in a straightforward and precise way. Why do we need to obey the king in the first place? Like I was saying earlier, we can talk about the Norman Conquest. America is a continent, right? And England is an island nation, isn't it? Why do we need to be ruled by a tiny island? Thomas Paine compared it to a planet and a satellite. The planet is us, the continent. The satellite is the tiny island nation of England. But there is no such thing as a satellite that controls a planet. Why should we, the continent, be ruled by an island nation? We don't need to be led by them. And even the people of the 13 colonies. That's right. Yes, 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 yes. That's right. USA, 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 USA wasn't ready at that time. But that kind of thing. The mood of unity comes out, right? And the rest is not. I don't just say things to sway people's emotions. I was also talking about practical things. There were a lot of people who were worried about the economy. If we become independent from England, will we be able to live economically? Thomas Paine mentioned that too. If we become independent, we can have free trade with countries other than England. If we do that, we can make more money, right? Oh, yes. Most of the people in the 13 colonies became very confident about becoming independent. And George Washington, as I explained earlier, was also a member of this group. He had never thought of independence until he read Thomas Paine's Common Sense. He didn't want to become independent. But after reading this, Washington did. I'm going to be independent. He was like, okay, let's go independent. The influence of Thomas Paine's Common Sense was tremendous at that time. It brought the mood of independence to its peak. Finally, on July 4, 1776, The 13 colonies of North America declared their independence. The Continental Congress adopted it, right? So, even today, July 4th is still celebrated as America's Independence Day. It's a huge celebration, isn't it? This 4th of July in 1776. I think it's important to remember the date as well. Are you vain? Mr. England laughs, from the American point of view. By declaring independence. What a waste of time. Laughs. Well, yes. After the Declaration of Independence, Articles of Confederation were created again. The 13 colonies officially became a federation. It was the time that the name, United States of America, was created. I want to tell you a little story related to this. The current flag of the United States, the Stars and Stripes, has 13 red and white lines. These 13 lines refer to the first 13 colonies that became independent. Well, it's a famous story. Of course, I'm sure many people know this story. In the preamble, it says, "All men are created equal." That's what it says. This is such a remarkable statement, but it's only for white men. For indigenous people and black slaves at that time were not included in the equality. That's why I think it's dark. Honestly, there is still discrimination even now. There are still many unresolved issues. But it was in the 20th century that we became legally equal. So it took 200 years even after the Declaration of Independence was issued. Everything became equal. That's how long it took. The Declaration of Independence did not start a war of independence as I've explained before. The fight started first, and during the war, the sense of independence grew. We'll be independent during the war. That was the Declaration of Independence. Of course, at that time, Britain did not recognize the independence of America. So the struggle for America to win its independence is still going on. I'll explain that in the following article. Watch this video. I hope you find it interesting. Please like and subscribe to my channel. See you soon.